Okay, it says we're live now. So hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little behind this morning, but we got exciting stuff today. So I am Dr. Garrett Smith, the nutrition detective of nutritiondetective.com. And if you want the free course, if you haven't looked at that yet, that's at madnessofmodernnutrition.com. That's kind of a intro to a lot of the concepts and principles we do. So that's available for you. And today, usually what we do here is I go over a testimonial commonly, and I go over oftentimes a research study. But we have kind of both rolled into one today, if you saw the topic of today, which is there's a I forget who sent this to me. I apologize. I'm in deep debt for you sending this to me, whoever you were. It was somebody on Twitter sending me a direct message, and I just don't have time to go look it up right now. 1947 study in the New England Journal of Medicine. Ooh, legit journal, right? A very legit journal, supposedly. Let me just get into it. And then we're going to get into some super chats that I missed. I do my best. My mind's running 1,000 miles a minute here. So I missed some super chats over a couple of episodes, and we're going to get to those today. So if super chats are great. Really appreciate them. They bring your question to the top of the queue, but I don't know how much time I'll have to get to them. So you may want to wait until I get through the ones that I've missed before you send any. So let's get into this. So I'm going to put the links in the chat. Here is, I feel like I'm announcing a game show. I'm like, here is the first one. So this is their main abstract that's available on the internet. The title of this paper is called The Effect of Restricted Intake of Carotene and Vitamin A on Psoriasis Vulgaris, a Preliminary Report. Okay. Now, I also have the Sci-Hub link. Sci-Hub has the entire paper, and I'm going to put that there. But sometimes Sci-Hub's websites, sometimes their websites just disappear because what they're doing is Sci-Hub believes that research, once it's done, should be shared with the world. Why are they if we're truly trying to get better as humanity as a whole, why are they charging people money for research studies to get access to knowledge that if it's useful knowledge, shouldn't all of humanity be able to see it and review it and know what actually happened more than an abstract? So Sci-Hub, basically, you can find many, many studies on Sci-Hub for free. And of course, the mainstream doesn't like it because then they don't get as much money, paid. So let's get into this. I'm going to hit on the high points of it. Let me get to the front of it. Oh, wait. Let me get into this. Let me find on my Twitter the study about psoriasis skin and what was in it. So let me get this paper link for you. Wait a second. I put the wrong paper there. Anyway, so here's a fun study. We'll just go over this one while we're at it. Another common thing that I deal with in people is copper toxicity and zinc deficiency. So I want to let you know. So what I'm going to tie all these things together right now. So I guess on the Twitter post that I did, I had a study, and I'm going to find it, where it showed increased vitamin A. Every aspect of vitamin A the toxin called vitamin A in psoriasis skin was increased. Psoriasis skin was holding, like, full of vitamin A, because skin diseases are the body detoxing vitamin A and toxic bile through the skin. And when that toxic, if you think of it like lava, that toxic lava bile comes out the skin, it damages everything in its path. And then it just sits there, right? So why do they tell people with skin conditions often to wash your face or wash your skin often? Because what they're trying to do is wash off the toxic garbage that's coming out through your skin. Now, does this fix it all the time? No, it could make it a little better. The problem is the toxic bile coming out through your skin when it should have gone out from your liver to your bile ducts to your intestines and been pooped out. But if you go back and watch my live stream number 71, you can learn about toxic bile theory, cholestasis, liver injury, toxic bile leaking into the blood. Toxic bile leaks into the blood. It's then everywhere. Do you understand? It's everywhere in the body. And then that can cause problems for you anywhere in the body. Where does the body have to get rid of it next? Where does the body want to get rid of it next? It gets rid of it through the kidneys, which then damages the kidneys. If the kidneys can't manage to get rid of it fast enough, it comes out through the skin and it damages the skin. Grant Genereux, those of you who have seen Grant or heard of Grant, I'm going to give you his website right now. It's ggenereux.blog. I type the address in the chat. He has 3 free ebooks. He was the man who got me into vitamin A toxicity. Well, first Matt Stone brought Grant's work to my knowledge. So I'm always going to be grateful to Matt for that. Matt of 180 Degree Health. And then Grant wrote his 3 free ebooks. And Grant has said to me, and he said it on videos he does with me, and I don't think he said it in public, but he kind of understated how serious his disease was. He went to the doctor. He was jaundiced from head to toe, yellow from head to toe. He had terrible eczema, especially in his armpits, that he said the pain from the eczema and the appearance, his appearance with it, was the biggest thing that was what he was concerned about. And then there was his kidneys failing. He had chronic kidney disease, and the doctor was basically saying, you're not going to get better from any of this stuff. Grant goes to the doctor. The doctor's like, you're in deep doo-doo, right? Jaundice shows his liver wasn't working, and he's turning yellow. What color is vitamin A and toxic bile often? Yellow. Bilirubin. That's what builds up in jaundice in your blood. Weird. Kidneys are failing. Where does the toxic bile and vitamin A go next? It goes to your kidneys. Skin disease. Where does the toxic bile and the vitamin A go after the liver and the kidneys can't get rid of the poison bile? It goes out the skin. So Grant was showing problems in every single aspect of vitamin A detox and bile buildup in the blood. Okay. So one of the other things I deal with a lot is that is very crucial to vitamin A detox. And another thing that builds up when people are vitamin A toxic and they have liver injury is copper toxicity. Do not believe anyone out there who is talking about copper deficiency or bioavailable copper unless you can go do it. When that all explodes and doesn't work, or should I say implodes, when that doesn't work, come back and find me and we'll see how long it takes to fix you. It'll take a while, but it can be done. We have plenty of people here who got duped into the copper is everything. Copper is wonderful. Copper toxicity doesn't exist. The most lunatic thing I've ever heard in my life. But let's go into this one paper about psoriasis and its connection to copper and zinc. I think I posted this. Abnormal serum copper and zinc levels in patients with psoriasis, a meta-analysis. So here's what I'm going to tell you that this paper is going to say, because this is what I fix in people, and this is how I fix psoriasis. They're going to have high copper levels, most likely, and they're going to have low zinc levels. So let's see. Let me find it. Compared with healthy controls, serum copper levels were significantly increased. And serum zinc levels were significantly decreased in patients with psoriasis. Conclusions. In conclusion, increased serum copper and decreased serum zinc levels were generally observed in patients with psoriasis. Treatments to normalize the serum copper and zinc levels may improve the outcome of psoriasis patients. Interesting. Something I fix every day: copper toxicity and zinc deficiency. If you have skin conditions, you very likely have a zinc deficiency and a copper toxicity and a vitamin A toxicity, because this pattern goes together. Oh, don't forget iron overload. Hemochromatosis goes right in this little group together. So the people are saying you need copper to regulate iron, and no. Copper and iron are both stored toxically in your liver together, along with vitamin A. And the research shows that vitamin A in your diet increases iron absorption. How do they all go together? I don't know. Maybe they're all just connected somehow. Anyway, so let me find the skin. Let me find the paper that had the increased vitamin A in the skin. Let me see if I found it. Got 3 possibilities here. Sorry about this. I guess I put the wrong link on my Twitter. Ooh, wait, there we go. I think I'll find it now. I think we got it. Okay. Yes, so here's the paper. Retinol and vitamin A metabolites accumulate through retinol binding protein 4 and, I want to say this right, serum transmembrane protein stimulated by retinoic acid, STRA6, changes in a psoriasis murine model. That means mice, because they're not taking chunks of human skin to do this. We wouldn't want to prove that vitamin A accumulates in the skin of psoriasis people unless they did a study in 1947 showing that reducing their vitamin A intake crushed down their psoriasis, would we? We would never want to repeat that study done in 1947 to fix psoriasis, because that wouldn't make dermatologists any money. What do dermatologists use to help psoriasis and eczema? They use blue light or UVB light lamps. Do you know what those do in the skin? They destroy vitamin A. They break it down, move it along the detox pathway through oxidation. But if they didn't sell lamps and they didn't do treatments, they wouldn't make any money, and telling people to eat less vitamin A makes no one any money. It makes everybody less money. This is why they're happy to poison you. They are happy. They want to poison you. They may not realize they're doing it because no one goes into the research quite like I do they? So let's get into this one. So what they found in this paper, here we go. Oh, tumor necrosis factors, which is not a good thing. Tumor necrosis factor alpha was raised significantly in both serum, blood, and lesional skin in the psoriasis skin. Okay. Retinol levels in lesional skin the psoriasis, increased slightly, but no change was evident in serum retinol levels. Do you understand what they're going to say? The doctor's going to run your blood test on serum retinol, if they will even do that. They're going to say everything's fine. But I have psoriasis, doc, and it said that retinol is collecting in my skin here. And oftentimes, maybe some of you have noticed, in skin conditions, they're almost always having a little bit of a yellowish tint compared to the other skin. There's so often you see yellowish tint. If you guys have seen yellowish tint to your skin issues, please post it in the chat. Okay. So what else do we see? STRA6, which I'll go over that again, was upregulated in both lesional skin and serum. So what is STRA6? Transmembrane protein stimulated by retinoic acid. Transmembrane protein stimulated by retinoic acid. So why would this transmembrane protein be elevated? It's stimulated by retinoic acid. So what does that mean? There's probably a lot of around there. Retinoic acid, the very thing that vitamin A turns into in your body eventually. This is what people call incorrectly active vitamin A. Like, it does stuff. It does do stuff. It melts your skin and it melts your cells. That's why they do yellow chemical peels on people's faces. Retinoic acid is a chemical peel. It dissolves the skin on people's faces. So it dissolves the cells inside of your body too, which is why Accutane and Retin-A cause early death and all sorts of liver injury. What else do we have here? RBP4, retinol binding protein 4, which is a surrogate marker for vitamin A levels in the blood. RBP4 levels were elevated in serum blood, but exhibited only an increasing trend in lesional skin. So there is more retinol binding protein 4 in skin. That is psoriasis, psoriatic. Proteins and enzymes that mediate retinoic acid formation and transformation were upregulated in lesional skin. So for some reason, the body is increasing proteins and enzymes that mediate, that regulate active vitamin A formation, the most damaging form of this poison, in the psoriasis skin, the skin that's being damaged. You have to understand that vitamin A, as it is going through the detox pathways in the body, actually becomes more toxic. Same thing happens with alcohol. Ethanol is not that toxic to you, but as your body turns it into acetaldehyde, that's what kills people. That's what gives you hangovers, is acetaldehyde. It's called bioactivation. It's where toxins become more toxic as they go through the detox process. And some people go, I don't understand that. Why would that happen? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not the great designer. I'm just fixing people. What we need is that ALDH to run very quickly, aldehyde dehydrogenase. That's a whole nother story. But so basically we see here that vitamin A, in just about every way they could measure, is higher in psoriasis skin and in the serum of psoriasis patients. So now let's get to the paper. The effect of restricted intake of carotene and vitamin A on psoriasis vulgaris. So let me just look at this one. So this paper was 2020, the one about the skin, vitamin A in the skin. 2020. Have you ever heard about this from your dermatologist? I mean, it's 3 years later. Shouldn't you have heard about it? Oh, but COVID. I used to have fairly mild psoriasis on several of my knuckles. It would show up right there, and it would show up right there. And what I noticed was over the years, as I was figuring out all this stuff, as I would figure out each layer, certain minerals, certain things to avoid nightshades, which contain vitamin A and vitamin D and retinoic acid. Peppers contain a compound in them. I forget which capsaicinoid. Anyway, which member of the capsaicin, the spicy family, actually is two retinoic acids put together. They're bound together. What would happen if your body broke that little bond? You've got basically retin-A floating through your blood. But anyway, I had 2 spots there. It wasn't terribly bad. But as I figured out the dietary things, it slowly got better and better until I learned about the vitamin A toxicity thing, and I stopped all my vitamin A and it went away. Now I don't have psoriasis anymore. So let's get to this paper then. What happened? Let me read this is all the background at the very start. Oh, wait, here's something you've probably never heard. A low-fat diet has likewise received favorable recognition in the treatment of psoriasis. How does your body store vitamin A and other toxins in the liver? What does it bind them to? Oh, it binds them to fat. If you had too many fat-soluble vitamins, toxins floating around your system, and your body was binding them to fat, and it needed more storage area to put them in, what would it make more of, do you think? Body fat. Why are people so fat these days? Because they're toxic. And they're storing fat-soluble toxins of all types that they were told were good for them, or that they can't escape in their environment. I have a whole Twitter thread on vitamin A's connection to the obesity epidemic. Pierre, if you want to, or Will, maybe if you want to find my obesity thread on Twitter and post it in the chat, that would be awesome. Okay. Here, let's go. Since a defect in the reactive process of keratinization appears to be an essential factor in the pathophysiology of psoriasis, and since keratoplasia is observed in vitamin A deficiency, it occurred to us that the improvement of psoriasis subsequent to the Grootsberger low-fat diet might be due to the simultaneous decrease in the supply of vitamin A. What a weird coincidence. Fat and vitamin A might be connected. One stores the other. They tend to come together. Okay, so I want you to hear this. The procedure. Who did they pick for this study? Only patients who had had extensive psoriasis vulgaris of long duration without experiencing spontaneous remissions were studied. A maximal daily intake of 150 to 300 IUs of vitamin A was allowed. Foods containing more than 50 IUs of vitamin A per average serving were prohibited, whereas foods free of vitamin A were allowed in unlimited amounts. A record of the daily intake of each patient was evaluated every 2 weeks by the dietitians of the food clinic. Patients were specifically instructed to consume a sufficient, not a huge amount, a sufficient amount of fats free of vitamin A to compensate for the omission of fats containing vitamin A. No local treatment except white Vaseline was used. So they could put some white Vaseline on their psoriasis. Okay. Observations. So we're towards the end now. In 9 of 11 cases, the psoriatic lesions markedly improved or completely cleared within 8 weeks to 40 weeks after the initiation of the diet restricted in both carotene and vitamin A, table 2. The first definite signs of improvement appeared within 4 and 12 weeks. Since spontaneous amelioration is frequently experienced during the summer months, we'll get back to that, improvement noted during the months of April to October was not considered significant. Let me just back up there. 9 of the 11 cases, the psoriasis markedly improved or completely cleared. Completely cleared within 8 to 40 weeks after they started the low carotenoid plant vitamin A and low retinol and retinol ester vitamin A. The first definite signs of improvement appeared within 4 and 12 weeks. Now, I'm going to tell you that back in 1947, zinc deficiencies were not as bad as they are today. So they got faster results than we'll see today. And especially if you're out there trying to do the low vitamin A diet and you're not dealing with your zinc deficiency, you may not get these results, and it may take a lot longer for you to do this. This is why I say this is not a game. We're trying to undo all the damage that has been done to society through toxicities and nutrient deficiencies. And if you only address one side of it, And actually, the detox will use up even more zinc to clean up. You could not make the progress you want. This is not a game. But they're saying here, since spontaneous amelioration is frequently experienced during the summer months, improvement noted during the months of April to October was not considered significant. What do we have more of in the summer months, folks, that I just said destroys vitamin A in your skin? Oh, the sun. The sun is brighter, and people tend to go outside more. What a weird coincidence that psoriasis that has high vitamin A in the skin would be less. Often it would get better during the summer months. Do you see how this all connects? Here we go. People will go, well, how do you know it's the vitamin A that did it? How do you know? Here we go. In 6 patients, 6 of the 9 patients who had shown marked improvement or complete clearing of the lesions, relapses occurred within 3 to 8 weeks consequent to the resumption of a normal, unlimited diet. And in one patient, 6 weeks after supplementation of the restricted diet with carotene. With this person, within 2 weeks after the carotene supplementation had been discontinued, this patient again showed marked improvement. They started taking beta carotene in a pill. They got worse. They stopped taking the beta carotene in the pill, and then it got better again. I mean, what do we need to show here, folks? What else do we need to show? Oh, here's an important thing. People go, well, why doesn't my vitamin A level, my serum retinol level change? Because you have so much vitamin A stored in your liver. Serum retinol changes extremely slowly and may not change for years. So what is the research going to show here? So they put them on a carotenoid, a very low carotene and a very low retinol diet. Here's what they saw in the labs. The carotene levels showed a reduction of from 35 to 68% of the original value within the first 2 or 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks, it was down a third to 2/3 and continued to decrease, whereas plasma vitamin A levels, plasma retinol values remained unchanged. So those of you out there who are testing your vitamin A and going, why is it not changing? This is not working. Yeah, it's working. Just keep going. This is normal. This is in the research everywhere. So here we go. Why did the serum retinol, the plasma retinol, not change? Let's see. The lack of noticeable changes in vitamin A plasma levels coincident with vitamin A restriction, however, does not exclude the possibility of a reduction of the vitamin in body stores that might be biologically effectual or effective prior to a measurable decrease in plasma vitamin A levels. So if you are eating a low vitamin A diet, and there's no such thing as a zero vitamin A diet like they didn't do in this study, you can't do a zero vitamin A diet. Get that out of your head. Red meat has some vitamin A in it. We don't have to go zero. Nobody ever had to go zero. Okay? So they're saying, like, imagine this. One of the things they've shown in studies is that carotenoids that are applied, beta carotene that was applied to the skin sample, they had like, this sounds like Frankensteinish. They had like a skin sample that they were kind of keeping alive, and they put beta carotene on it, and they saw that the beta carotene can be sliced by the body up into 2 retinaldehydes. And then it was bound to retinol esters. Somehow there was fat right under the skin. Oh, subcutaneous fat below the skin fat. So the beta carotene got chopped up, it bound to fat, and then it was sent to the liver. Okay, so imagine this. As you restrict carotenoids and vitamin A, your body starts taking the carotenoids eventually out of the skin. Where does it send it? It sends it to the liver, so your liver is not done. If your skin gets better, that does not mean your liver is detoxed. You have a long way to go, but can we see improvements the whole time? because your body is emptying out, let's say your skin and your body fat and your kidneys and your other organs. And where does that go to be detoxed, put into the bile to be pooped out, preferably? It goes to the liver. So you can see your brain get better. You can see your heart get better. You can see your skin get better. You can see your bones get better. You can see your organs get better, because they're all the only way that the blood vitamin A levels can be maintained on a low vitamin A diet means that the vitamin A in the blood is coming from somewhere. And for the vitamin A in the body to get to the liver, where does it travel through? What roads does it take? The blood. So we now have real research evidence of psoriasis being a vitamin A accumulation problem of the skin, and low vitamin A diets can completely resolve this. Isn't this fun? Here, let me just read the summary. 11 patients with severe and persistent psoriasis vulgaris were maintained on a restricted diet, allowing 150 to 300 IUs of vitamin A daily. 7 patients showed complete clearing of the lesions. 7 of the 11 complete clearing of the lesions. Just wanted to repeat that. 2 marked improvement, 1 slight improvement, and 1 no improvement. Relapses occurred in 7 previously improved patients consequent to the resumption of a normal, unrestricted diet or supplementation of the restricted diet with carotene. The values of the plasma carotene and vitamin A levels determined in 6 cases while the patients were on the restricted diet are compared with those of 26 normal persons and 26 psoriatic patients on an unrestricted dietary regime. The theoretical basis of this study and the related problems of carotene and vitamin A metabolism are discussed. This dietary restriction is not considered a practical therapeutic regime. It is, though. It affords an opportunity for further investigation of the metabolic aspects of psoriasis. Do you know how stupid that last line sounds to me? That is such apologetics. Like, we're so sorry that we figured out vitamin A causes psoriasis. Don't be mad at us. It's a metabolic aspect. It's just their metabolism of vitamin A that's the problem. No, it's toxicity. They just don't want to say it. They don't have the guts. Around vitamin A in the research, scientists have no guts. Vitamin A does really damage the balls, so maybe it's that their balls are getting destroyed. I have a whole thread on Twitter about vitamin A destroying your balls and how sunning your balls. What does sunning do to vitamin A again? Oh, it destroys vitamin A. Sunning destroys vitamin A. What is everybody wanting to do now? You know, 2 things that help your body to break down and get rid of vitamin A? Sunlight or UVB and red light. Wow, those are real popular these days. Gosh, if we had a vitamin A toxicity epidemic and people could treat themselves with light, and if you don't know, the scrotal skin is very thin and it lets light through. So what if you had a problem, men, with vitamin A poisoning your testicles and you started sunning them or using lamps on them, and all of a sudden your testosterone goes up? What is it destroying? It's destroying vitamin A, just like we saw psoriasis went down in the summer months for a lot of people in this paper. It is all connected. So anyway, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that fun? There's no science to back this up. No. Why didn't anybody ever repeat that study? Why didn't they repeat it? You know why. Those who are here, who are questioning everything, and believe me, we do question everything. I have a lot of people who can get into the vitamin A as a toxin thing, but then we start questioning other vitamins and they're like, oh no, no. They can't be wrong about all the vitamins. And I'm like, might be. Start pulling the thread and the whole sweater falls apart. Remember, pharmaceutical companies came up with vitamin science because they wanted other revenue streams. Pharmaceutical companies make all the vitamins and then they sell it to companies to put into pills for you. Pharma controls vitamins. Damn, this is fun. So let me get to the super chats that I missed. So Allison Ashton, thank you for the super chat. Allison, let me get to this question. I was diagnosed with the MTHF and my thyroid doctor, they should call me a thyroid doctor. I fix thyroids. I actually fix thyroids. My thyroid doctor has me on a supplement with niacin, vitamin B6, folate, B12, 1,000 micrograms, I think she's saying. Any thoughts on this? This is my advice to anyone on B vitamins. If you're taking a B vitamin and you feel nothing, no better from it, you feel no benefit from it, you just take it because your thyroid doctor said to, or whatever practitioner told you to take B vitamins. There's actually quite a bit of research, so I think I posted this on Twitter. As B vitamin consumption has gone up in the public, so has obesity. Vitamin B6 is an aldehyde and an alcohol. Pyridoxine is an alcohol, and pyridoxal 5-phosphate. Pyridoxaldehyde is an aldehyde, and it seems to collect in nerve endings. And when people get B6 toxicity, they get neuropathy. Does this sound like a vitamin? If I do not generally supplement multiple B vitamins at once, because any B vitamin that you are taking that you do not need, and then we start going, well, they're water soluble, and the body will very quickly pee out what it doesn't need. What if we change our aspect on that and we change, the body will very quickly pee out what it doesn't want, that it never wanted in the first place. Megadosing B vitamins is a drug-like approach. And if they help, what I'm going to tell you is that the B vitamins are helping a toxicity that's already present. So if you don't figure out the toxicity and deal with that, and you constantly need to, okay. Somebody's like, well, I have this genetic problem, MTHFR, whatever the new genetic problem that everybody has of the week, right? And this is not directed at you, Allison. This is just, oh, these epigenetic doctors are just, this is such victim mentality. You're broken. You were broken from birth. And then you go, well, why didn't my parents have this problem? And then we start talking about MTHFR and they're going, it's folate and it's B12. And I go, have you seen my video on this YouTube channel showing how vitamin A depletes folate and B12? And it's been shown over and over in studies, and it increases homocysteine. Vitamin A increases homocysteine. So let's say somebody's supplementing a bunch of folate and B12 while they're eating a high vitamin A diet, and they're like, I just can't get off of this folate and B12 supplement because if I do, I feel like crap. They're not dealing with the toxicity, and the folate and the B12 are covering their butt for the toxin that they keep eating. B vitamins function as antidotes to specific toxicities. So, my first rule on any supplement, other than ones that we specifically use, especially minerals, zinc, selenium, molybdenum, magnesium, potassium, sodium. We do salt our food. We test those minerals, and fixing those can take a while. So I don't expect people to necessarily feel amazing right away. because we don't do drug-like effects. We correct foundational deficiencies, right? You could cheat on a test and get a great score, but did you learn anything? Whereas if you want to do well on the test and maybe retain that knowledge for good, like maybe get better for good, it's going to take longer to study and you're going to have to actually learn something. Do you see the difference here between taking a pill that's like, boom, wow, I have so much energy now? That's a drug-like effect. That's a drug-like effect. Whereas if people are taking things that they truly need that are foundational and we're rebuilding them, it takes a while. Like even this psoriasis study, 8 to 40 weeks. This is not a game. It is a marathon, not a sprint. You want quick results? Go find the other people on the internet. They may give you quick results. They may destroy you. I'll be here. I'm still going to be here. The 1,700 people in the Love Your Liver network, the Nutrition Detective Network, are still going to be here to welcome you with open arms when you realize there is no quick way out of this. Everybody wants a quick way out. You have been poisoned your entire life. And getting rid of that, we are, think of it as transporting toxic waste. We have to get the toxic waste that your body has stored in the liver out of you while trying to cause the least damage possible because it's still toxic waste. Hot lava. We have to go slowly because your chronic health issues are caused by this toxic waste in you. You pull it out of storage, your body's trying to help you by putting it in storage. It's still causing you damage while it's in storage. And if you try to take it out too quickly, you now have toxic waste more than before floating around in your blood, affecting everything. This is not a game. This is not a weekend detox. This is not a bunch of supplements as a cleanse. Those are jokes sold to you by people who don't know better or by people who don't really want you to get better and they want you to keep coming back and buying their cleanse every spring. So, anyway, if B vitamins are not specifically giving you relief from some symptom, my advice is do not take them. They are only adding load to your liver. Your liver has to process everything that comes in. Everything, good or bad. So we only want to give it things we know it needs or things that we notice are helping. But you better be careful because sometimes things that may make you feel better that we know, like let's say store more vitamin A in your liver, they're actually slowing down detox. Remember, I said toxic waste coming out of your liver is what caused your disease. So what if you took something that slowed down your bile production, that is the toxic waste that's leaking into your blood? Do you see how you would feel better because now it's trapped in your liver? It's not leaving. So you feel better. There's less in your blood affecting your brain, your heart, your bones, your muscles, all that stuff. So you feel better for a while, but what's happening to your liver? The poisons aren't escaping your liver, and you're probably taking in more poisons. So your liver's just accumulating more poison. And then when you stop the supplement, your body eventually starts making more bile because the thing that was slowing it down is gone. And now you have even more toxic bile leaking out. And you feel worse. And then you try to do the supplement again that gave you such great results the first time. And maybe you get about half the effect that you got before. It just doesn't work the same anymore because your liver's more damaged and your liver can't hold back the dam bursting. And then eventually you try that supplement a third time. Hardly does anything. And you're stuck now because your savior supplement doesn't fix you anymore. How many of us have done this? If you've done this, the same thing happens with weight loss on bad diets. First time's amazing. Second time, maybe about half as much. It's much harder to do, and it's about half as much. And third time, maybe you get a couple pounds out of it. This is because you slowly got more toxic. And your body can't get rid of the toxicity, or it could kill itself because you've just been concentrating the poisons in the fat that was left. Whereas we start getting people less toxic, and all of a sudden they start dropping weight, and they're like, I'm not even trying to lose weight. And I go, yeah, that's because your body didn't need to store the toxic fat anymore, because you started to get rid of the toxins because you ate less toxins. And so your body says, well, we're used to having a certain amount of toxins in the blood. We can deal with that. So let's start slowly releasing the toxins from the fat. And then it goes, we don't need the fat anymore. Not everybody has that happen, but a lot of people do. So anyway, let's get to the next question. Oh, Renas Reda donated $10. He had this question, so thank you for that, Renas. What are your thoughts on red light therapy for health in general and to prevent hair loss? Let me find... These are fun stories. I don't know if I think I answered it. I may have answered it. Anyway, here's a paper. Illumination with 630 nanometer red light reduces oxidative stress and restores memory by photoactivating catalase and formaldehyde dehydrogenase in SAMP8 mice. Red light photoactivates formaldehyde dehydrogenase, an aldehyde dehydrogenase. That's the only one they looked at. But what's a big enzyme I talk about that's necessary for proper detox of aldehydes? Whether that is acetaldehyde from alcohol, formaldehyde from methanol, or retinaldehyde from retinol. It is the aldehyde dehydrogenase family. Does red light help health? Oftentimes it does. What is it doing? It is fixing your broken detox system. That's what it's doing. It's as simple as that. So yes, if you can get a red light thing, here's the thing you need to know about red light. Red light does not make vitamin D. It doesn't. But if you destroy vitamin A and you move it along the detox pathways, you may see your vitamin D levels rise, because vitamin A is the big vitamin D antagonist in the body. I have my Twitter thread showing that there's a vitamin A toxicity epidemic, and yet everyone else out there is going, there's a vitamin D deficiency epidemic. And I'm going, vitamin A is the biggest antagonist to vitamin D. Do you see the connection? Can you put this together? Do you understand why my clients who do the right things see their vitamin D levels go up and they don't ever take rat poison pills of vitamin D3? We destroy the antagonist. We remove the antagonist. This is how it works. It is much more important for you to reduce the toxin intake than it is for you to worry about nutrient-dense foods or increasing your vitamin intakes from foods or supplements. Way more important to relieve your body of the toxins so it can do what God designed it to do. Okay? That is what red light does. I have been using a red light helmet on my mother with Parkinson's. We're up to 7 minutes every other day because I want you to hear this about red light. Red light doesn't make the toxins, the aldehydes, disappear. It activates ALDH, which converts the aldehydes into acids, which then your body can get rid of, including retinoic acid. So you got to be careful that you don't do it too much. Let me give you a quick story about that. I was using this laser helmet on my mom. She has Parkinson's-like syndrome, and we're trying to fix it. She's a very good client, but I do believe that at a certain point where the enzyme, especially the ALDH, like pesticides and a compound called malondialdehyde, can permanently shut down ALDH in areas. So your body would have to make more because the malondialdehyde stopped the ALDH from working. I have this in the research. I'm not going to go look it up right now. So if you accumulated malondialdehyde in an area, like let's say your brain, and the malondialdehyde is just sitting there camping out, any ALDH that comes there, the malondialdehyde is probably going to shut it down because it's just stronger. Okay. So we started. So if you do too much red light at once, you may dump a bunch of toxicity back into your bloodstream and you may not feel good. Here's the simple way to know if that's happening. If you do red light or sunlight, or you go in the sauna or whatever, if you do these things that we call agitators, which you can learn about in the Love Your Liver program, members.nutritiondetective.com. If you do these things and you feel significantly worse afterwards, you did too much or too intense or too long, whatever. Exercise could be at 1, 2. So how do you fix that? The next time you do less intensity, less duration, less often. Okay, so let me give you a quick story about this. This is I do these things with myself and my family. This is how I figure them out, and I test them out before I have people do them. So my mom, I put the laser helmet on her, and the normal treatment of it was 25 minutes. And I do this too. I underestimated the power that this could have on my mom. So I just had her do the full 25-minute session. And as has happened in the past when we've tried things to help her, she got a really fuzzy brain for a couple days. She was like, I don't, that was too much. I got a fuzzy brain. I don't feel very good. It's too much. And I was like, okay, cool. So we waited. My mom was real gun shy about doing it again because she didn't feel good. I think we waited about a week and a half. And I said, Mom, let's try it again. We're just going to start with 5 minutes. Cool? She said, okay. So we do 5 minutes. And she said afterwards she had a little bit of a headache, a little fuzzy. And I said, okay, let's wait until that stirring up of toxins in your system calms down. It took a day. So there was the day we did it, and then we skipped a day. And then the third day, every other day, I said, are you feeling better? And she goes, yeah. Can we do it again? Yeah. She wasn't gun shy this time. We did it again. Headache came, but it was less. Fuzziness didn't come. Ooh, we're changing something. So then we kept repeating the 5 minutes every other day. This is what I do with supplements with people, folks. If people have a reaction to something and they need less, we lower their dose. And sometimes if they have a response to it, that's not what we want to see. Sometimes we even have them skip days. So because they may, if let's say somebody takes zinc and they feel, let's say they get more negatives than benefits at a certain dose. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to reduce the dose because we want to reduce those negatives down to hopefully 0. But we reduce the dose and we see if we can increase the positive benefit while decreasing the negatives or eliminating the negatives. But let's say the negatives get stirred up. Let's say the person has positives and they're like, I want to keep taking zinc. I feel better from it, but I get these symptoms. Then we might say reduce your dose and skip days until whatever it stirred up goes away. And then you can take another dose. And what do we see? Like with, well, so my mom, we kept doing the 5 minutes every other day, and she kept getting less and less of a reaction. So just the other day, or like I think last week, I said, how'd you do? She said, I'm fine. Nothing negative after a 5-minute session. So what did I do? I said, are you cool with us going up to 7 minutes? She said, yeah. I said, okay, cool. Let's start doing 7 minutes. And she did the first treatment at 7 minutes. And I asked her afterwards, how are you doing? And she said, I feel a little weird, but I'm all right. I said, any headache? And she said, no. Any fuzziness? No. I feel a little weird, but she didn't seem concerned about it. And then we did 7 minutes again yesterday. The second time, I think we did 7 minutes, and I don't think I heard any negatives. And what can I tell you that's going on with my mom in terms of her symptoms? She's walking better. Her personal trainer and my kids are saying she's speaking better. we are seeing positive changes. For those of you who want to know, it is, I'll type it in there. irestorelaser.com is the laser helmet. Now, it's mostly been studied and tested for hair loss, but there's lots of research on dementia and Alzheimer's responding positively to red light. Maybe you've seen my Twitter thread on the connections between Alzheimer's and dementia and vitamin A toxicity. Weird that these are all connected. And then I saw on Twitter yesterday somebody saying iron overload is connected to Alzheimer's and dementia. And I'm like, vitamin A increases iron absorption. Here's my thread on how vitamin A toxicity is connected to Alzheimer's. So what if you got rid of the vitamin A? Well, the increased absorption of iron would disappear, and all the problems that vitamin A causes in the brain, like dementia and Alzheimer's, would also go away. Two birds with one stone. Imagine all this stuff being connected. So let's get into the next one. Ramon asked, thank you for the super chat, Ramon. Hi, Dr. Smith. What are lower carb vegetables high in soluble fiber I could incorporate into my diet for bile excretion? I am mostly carnivore. Thanks. Well, there's not a lot. Gosh, I feel like I was about to slouch. Sorry. I was getting comfortable. Lower carb vegetables high in soluble fiber. There's not a lot. Generally, the ones, the vegetables that I personally prefer that are lower carb, as opposed to what we're saying, generally root vegetables are the higher carb ones, and the root vegetables that are white to off-white in color are the generally okay ones. Make sure to peel them. The vegetables that I prefer in my diet that I do well with, and I rotate them. I do not do them over and over the same food. I don't do anything like the Grant Genereux diet of beef or bison, brown or white rice, and black beans every day. I don't do that. And I'm part of my program is to make options for people to do a low vitamin A diet and not have to do an extremely repetitive diet. Now, there are people out there who do really well with repetitive diets. And that's fine. That's great. There's people out there who do really well on what's called the cowboy diet, where they're just eating basically beef and beans. Or there's people out there, the two people who got rid of their type 1 diabetes with a low vitamin A diet, they were doing beef and white rice. Not a huge fan of white rice every day, every meal, because there's going to be arsenic problems and the B1 deficiency may become a problem. I have other theories on why the B1 deficiency shows up. But lower carb vegetables that are high in soluble fiber, I don't think they really exist. Well, potatoes actually have a high amount of soluble fiber. White potatoes, peeled well, cooked hard. They are a nightshade, so they can cause problems, but that's high in starch too. So we're looking at, well, I'm trying to think of the ones that I typically do. If I'm going to do vegetables, we're talking cauliflower, we're talking green beans. I love green beans, and I feel great on them. And some people out there are going to be like, they're too high in vitamin A. And I'm going to go, I already talked about this. You don't have to be zero. The people who are nutters about it being very low either are super reactive to vitamin A, which is okay. Here's the thing. We adjust this to each person. That's what I do. We don't say that everybody has to eat beef and beans 3 meals a day every day. That's not what we're trying to do. Everybody doesn't have to eat the Grant Genereux diet. Everybody doesn't have to do the beef and rice diet. I hate rice. I don't feel good on rice, so I don't eat it. So let me think. We make around here a fairly low vitamin A salad that is, it could be any kind of very light, any kind of light green lettuce, which would be things like It could even be iceberg. It could be romaine, especially if you got rid of the darker green top of it. It could be butter lettuce, the light green lettuces. And then we do some celery in it, and we do peeled cucumber in it. It's quite good salad. Then we might even put in some sunflower seeds. Just a sprinkle. Put a little crunch in there. It's very good salad. I feel quite good eating it, so I'm not worried about it. What else do I do? I don't remember any other. I know there's probably one more vegetable that I'm forgetting. Oh, white corn. We'll get organic white corn, like frozen white corn, and cook that. Cauliflower rice. We'll get cauliflower rice. Make that sometimes as like a side dish. I do really well on cauliflower. I know I generally don't like cruciferous vegetables, but again, I don't eat very many of them, and I eat them in a rotation if I do eat them, and I feel fine on it. So everything is not black and white. But the sicker you are, the more strict you need to be if you want to get better faster. I'm 4+ years in. I'm getting up here on 4 years, 4 months into this process. If you're starting this journey, you are not me. No, you'll never be me. We're never going to be each other. So if you are starting this, you should probably be stricter and not cheating, if you want to call it that. But I'm also not against you cheating. And then oftentimes when people as they start getting less toxic and their body starts becoming more able to recognize poisons, because remember, a poisoned person has a real trouble recognizing poisons. Like alcoholics can't even recognize that it's ruining them, right? They continue to do it, even though it's ruining them. And then they often put in a bunch of other poisons into them, whether that's smoking, whether that's other drugs, whether that's garbage fast food, whether that poisons beget poisons. People who are poisoning themselves with one thing then start poisoning themselves with more things. And funny thing, these people are often the type who go, I love bacon. You can't make me give up my bacon. And I'm like, sure, you can eat that filthy meat. Sure. Just drink and eat pork and smoke cigarettes and eat fast food and you wonder why you feel like hot garbage. It's not a surprise. And then as people start to get one thing out and they start to get a little less toxic, they often go, well, I feel like getting this other toxic thing out now. And then I feel like getting out this other toxic thing. And then maybe they're getting toxic people out of their lives. And all of a sudden they start seeing all these things for the toxins that they are, and they realize we are truly being poisoned from all angles. And as you take in more toxins, you want more toxins. And as you realize how to take out toxins and you get less toxic, you want less toxins because you are able to finally recognize them. Is there anything? I think those are the main vegetables that I do. I don't always do vegetables at dinner. Dinner's the only time I would tend to do vegetables, and I don't always do them. I love with my kids, like my boy, most dinners, he doesn't really care that much for vegetables. He's not like picky about it. He actually had some salad the other night with us. But if he just eats meat for dinner, just beef for dinner, I'm like, fine, great. It's an interesting thing in parenting to be like, where everybody's like, eat your vegetables. And I'm like, yeah, vegetables, whatever. Have some meat, have a hamburger patty or a steak or whatever, and that's fine. Or we make roast chicken. Yeah. Okay. Last one. I don't know if this was from Ramon. If there's any other super chats, I'll get to them right after this. Google Eyes or Googly Eyes, I don't know which one it is. I think it's Google Eyes. Had this question. Thank you for the super chat. Is dry lips / mouth vitamin A toxicity or zinc deficiency? Okay. These are always together. So whenever I hear anything skin related, I very much think vitamin A. And I also think of zinc deficiency. If you were to find my Twitter thread on vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist, what you'll find is that I show that all of the vitamin A deficiency symptoms, I know we're talking about toxicity here too, but all the vitamin A, first you have to remember that vitamin A deficiency symptoms and vitamin A toxicity symptoms in the research are the exact same list. They are the exact same list. So what does that mean? There's people out there who say that because these things are the same, that vitamin A toxicity doesn't exist. It's only vitamin A deficiency. And I'm like, that seems really dumb. Because if we know that vitamin A is toxic in high doses, what they'll say is that vitamin A in high doses, or Accutane or retin-A or whatever, it damages what they call vitamin A metabolism, which I call vitamin A detoxification because it's a poison. And they say it damages your detox system. And then you can't make retinoic acids. And so you're actually suffering from a retinoic acid deficiency, even though when people take retinoic acids in pharmaceutical form and they get the exact same symptoms, somehow that's a vitamin A deficiency. Do you see how stupid this sounds? There was an MD on Twitter trying to explain vitamin A metabolism to me like this. Imagine this if somebody said, you're an alcoholic. Remember, retinol's an alcohol. You're an alcoholic. You drank way too much alcohol and you damaged your detox system. Now you have an alcohol deficiency. What? So what if somebody says, you took too much vitamin A, which is an alcohol, retinol. It damaged your liver. Now you have a vitamin A deficiency. That is the dumbest thing I may have ever heard in my life. You took too much of something, it hurt something, and now you need more of that thing. Give me a break. Blocked that dude on Twitter. But vitamin A toxicity, so there is only vitamin A toxicity because vitamin A is not a vitamin. Every vitamin A deficiency study, supposed vitamin A deficiency study, has been lacking, and I show this, in either total protein, especially meat. Where do all the vitamin A deficiency studies come from? Don't they seem to come from Africa? Do you think they're eating a lot of meat in Africa when they're practically starving? No, the first thing that people don't have when they're practically starving is meat. So they're lacking total protein. They're lacking zinc, because what's the best source of zinc in the diet? It's meat, especially red meat. And they're lacking taurine, which is only found in significant amounts in meat. So what do they give the mice and the rats in the vitamin A deficiency studies? They give them casein protein, dairy protein. I've shown, and Grant has shown, that inside casein and whey from dairy, there is vitamin A inside of those proteins. So when these scientists say they're giving the mice and rats a vitamin A-free diet, they're giving them vitamin A, they're not giving them enough zinc, and they're not giving them any taurine. And then they start showing vitamin A deficiency symptoms. No, it's toxicity. They're giving them vitamin A. They're not giving them zinc, and they're not giving them taurine. And then if you look in that thread, I show how, here's a weird thing. These mice or these people were vitamin A deficient, and we gave them zinc, and their vitamin A level rose. What? We have these starving people, and we gave them more protein, and their vitamin A levels in the blood rose. What? Well, they're not giving them vitamin A. How did it go up? Because they had plenty of vitamin A stored in their liver that is now escaping, and the body's trying to get rid of it. Vitamin A deficiency is a lie. Super excited to do my labs soon to see what my vitamin A is now. So let me get on here. That's all. I hope that's all the super chats. If I missed any super chats from before, please let me know. Send Julie an email at admin@nutritiondetective.com to let her know. If I missed yours, please don't just everybody email her. If you don't know, if you don't have that info, don't email Julie. She gets like 150 emails a day. So take it easy on her. Don't send her stuff that's unnecessary. We're a small operation. We're going to change the world. We are changing the world, but we're still a small operation. So let me go and look. See if we have, I got to go slow so I don't jump over any of them. Because I missed them before. Sometimes when you scroll on the, there it is. Oh, shoot. Thanks for the super chat, Will. I forgot to post the inner circle in the network. The inner circle is a private video Q&A that I do right after this. So if you want to know how well my brain is working on low vitamin A, I do like 4 hours straight of video Q&A every Friday morning. And this is the 78th week in a row that we've done this. This is what I do. So yeah, so for those of you in the inner circle, I'll be posting it and we'll just do all the questions in the chat instead of giving you time to do them early. I'm sorry. For those of you who don't know, interesting things happened in the last 7 to 10 days. So I used to host the inner circle videos and other videos on my network on a website called Vimeo. I paid them for their service. All of a sudden, about 10 days ago, they took down a video I had posted there from July of 2022, and they said this violates our guidelines on shots, talking about shots in a negative way, or going against the CDC, or going against the WHO, or saying that any certain viral problem was not totally legit. So then the next day they axed another video, and then they axed another video, and then they canceled my account. So I have been canceled now for the first time. Then later that week, coincidentally, somebody tries to hack my Twitter account. Weird coincidence. And then today, as I'm going to go reply, now there's one of the bow-tied people on Twitter, which I absolutely think these I am very suspect of this whole bow-tied group. I'm very suspect of all these bow-tied people, BOWTIED. And there's all sorts of people in different areas. And they're all anonymous. But they were debunking my vitamin D threat. So now I get canceled from Vimeo. Somebody breaks into my Twitter account. And now I'm being debunked. We must be doing some damage that people don't like. So for those of you who don't know, we have now backed up our channel on Odysee, ODYSEE.com. Let me find the channel. Let's see. Basically, if you go on Odysee and you look for Nutrition Detective, you'll find me at Nutrition Detective :6. Okay. That is me on Odysee. So we have the entire YouTube channel backed up there. We are going to be putting our new videos, the Inner Circle, on. We are re-uploading all of our videos to Rumble. And so we will be there. So we've been working hard on that this last week because, it's our first time getting canceled, and I take it as a badge of honor. I really do. So let me see. So yeah, we'll do all the questions. I'm sorry I didn't get the post up earlier because I think it was like Friday that we got canceled from Vimeo. Last Friday, like after. So I spend all morning doing these video Q&As. So I'm pretty spent after it. And all of a sudden that happens. And I was like, oh man, this is a stressful day. Took a magnesium and potassium bath after that. And we started to get to work to fix all the problems. that were being thrown our way. Thank goodness nobody did anything to my Twitter account. But even if you did out there, it's all right here. You can't take this away from me. I just repost it all. I have a mind like a steel trap. So my memory's pretty good. I wonder why. Dementia and Alzheimer's are associated with vitamin A toxicity, and I avoid vitamin A, and my memory's really good. Coinky dink. Just a coinky dink. So I don't think I saw any other, but see, Will, I would have jumped right over your super chat. I don't know why when I scroll in the live chat that it'll sometimes just jump right over the super chats. That's why I missed them. So for those of you folks, I didn't purposely skip them when I was trying to scroll fast through the live chat. It just jumped over it, and it's happened before. I don't know why, so I have to go very slow. Anyway, so let's see. We are at 9:29. I'll try to get through a couple of questions. For those of you who said hi at the start of the live stream, hello, welcome. Let's see. Reliable Andrew asks, Dr. Smith, do you recommend MMS/CDS as part of a healing protocol? I do not discuss that topic publicly. If you would like to see that, you will have to join the network. That's all I have to say on that. Monica says, thank you from another soon-to-be patient of yours. You are welcome. Monica says, could genetics be silenced, i.e. muscular myopathy? I know that you don't treat conditions, but I wonder if toxicity could make it worse. Thanks again. Absolutely. Okay. The question, could genetics be silenced? That's I mean, the elite want genetics silenced really bad, don't they? Genetics, the passing on of genetics, they want that just. Anyway, as they say in genetics loads the gun, environment pulls the trigger. They just started saying that obesity is genetic. You're a victim of your genetics, and that's why you're obese. No. Anything they say is genetics is toxicity. And you know what? Here's my joke now. You know what the next thing they're going to say is genetic? Infertility. Anyone who has half a brain could think about genetics causing infertility and realize that doesn't make any sense, because if it's genetic, how would you have had a kid to pass on the infertility genetics? I think I posted in the diabetes thread, like in 30 years, they're expecting diabetes to quadruple in the population. The population's actually going down, but diabetes is going to quadruple. Is it genetic? No, it's toxicity. This is how you know when diseases go up while the population is going down, you know it's not genetic. So if somebody was born with a certain amount of toxicity that caused a certain genetic pattern to express, okay, like it caused a phenotype, it caused somebody to develop in a certain way. Depending upon what it was, could it be relieved some? Could the symptoms be relieved some? Sure. Grant says he thinks his scoliosis is slowly resolving itself. So can we change things like this? I think the work they did, I had orthodontics and they did a lot of rubber bands on my jaw, which I don't agree with anymore. But I'm pretty sure as I'm going through this process that my jaw is actually reorganizing itself. And it's taking a long time. So if you had bony changes from, like, let's say rubber bands, and it moved your jaw, and orthodontics braces are changing your skull. They're not just moving your teeth. Your teeth are bones stuck into your skull. It's a bone on bone. If you move one, you're going to change the other. I do actually believe that I was having, I didn't have TMJ, and then all of a sudden I kind of started getting TMJ on this side, and then recently this just poof disappeared. And then I started over here. I didn't have pain, but I started getting a little click. And I went, that was weird that this just poof disappeared. And then all of a sudden this, something much less intense, no pain, just a little click, like a little alignment thing popped up. And this is slowly getting better over time. This is called retracing. This is your body. This is what I believe is your body fixing old things. Grant's saying his scoliosis is going away. I think my TMJ or my jaw misalignment from braces and rubber bands, which are designed to change your skull, basically. If you're changing your teeth, you're changing your skull. I think it caused problems, and now my body is fixing it. I haven't looked into detail on this, but some of you may be able to verify this. It's probably better for you guys to look at it. If you look at my old videos, and yes, I was 25 pounds heavier 4 years ago, even 2 years ago, 20 pounds, 25 pounds heavier. But I do actually think my skull shape is changing. My jawline and my skull shape. I do actually think it's changing. Oh, well, let me show you. So how could that happen if we were becoming less vitamin A toxic? How could bones change? There's a paper called Vitamin A and Clefting, Putative Biological Mechanisms. So they're suggesting that there are biological mechanisms to vitamin A causing cleft lip and cleft palate. Well, what are cleft lip and cleft palate? They're birth defects, but cleft palate is a malformation of your skull, basically. It's on the upper palate, but that's your skull. That's the bottom end of your skull, right? So if vitamin A toxicity could cause bones to develop improperly, is it possible that if we removed the vitamin A toxicity, that the body could undo some of that damage? That the body, your body's constantly like cutting out old bone cells and putting in new bone cells. That's osteoblasts and osteoclasts cut away old bone. Osteoblast, the B. So think of class C cuts away, B build. So osteoblasts build the bone. So your body's like recycling and it removes one cell of bone, and then the blasts come in and put it back. What osteoporosis drugs do, if you didn't know, they slow down the clasts, the cutting, so you don't take out the old bad bone cells. And that's really what they do. And then the blasts keep working. They build bone on top of old crappy bone. That's what osteoporosis drugs do. And then they look at the scans and they go, you have more bone density. And all you did was build new bone on top of old crap bone. Because that's all they care about is the numbers, because they can't show you anything else. If you put more bricks on a wall with no mortar, you actually have more bricks there. Do you understand? Without mortar, the density of the bricks, there's more bricks in one area. So if you walked up to the wall and you're like, look at how many bricks are on my wall. I have more bricks in my wall than the guy over here who used mortar. My wall's better. And then a stiff wind comes by and blows down the wall with no mortar. Density is not everything or almost anything. They used to actually measure osteoporosis rates by how many hip fractures there were, not by DEXA scans. And we now have proof of fixing DEXA scans, of reversing osteoporosis. We now have DEXA proof. It's weird how all these diseases are connected to the same thing. Let me find this super chat that came through. There it is. Oh, I was going to skip it again. Ramon, my super chat guy. Hey, thanks, Ramon. Will the meats you sear/cook in oil together with onion and garlic absorb the negative compounds of these two? How about sauteing them in oil first, then discarding, then cooking with that oil? Wait, okay. I mean, okay, I'm just going to be straight up here. The higher heat you cook things in, the more damage you're doing to the oils and the more damage you're doing to the proteins. Why does a steak chew differently? Why is the texture change when you cook it at high heats? Or when you cook it at all? The texture changes because the proteins are changing. Okay? The higher heat you cook things at, like searing, the more toxic compounds you are creating in it. This is just, I'm not a raw meat guy. I mean, I would I eat raw meat? Yeah. But I'm just saying, am I still going to grill? Yes. But the reality is a lot of people, if they cook meat really, they cook it at higher heats, they don't feel very good from the meat. Because it's making more toxic byproducts that their body then has to get rid of. This is just the reality. Okay? Cooking can make things more easily digestible, but searing things, you're taking that as about as high temperature as it can go. Searing would also be the best way to oxidize any fats and oils, the fats in the meat or the oils or the fats you're using to sear it in. What oxidizes things? Heat, air, and light. And also with, like, when you think of rust, water can help with that. Rust is oxidation. Copper rust is oxidation. Copper and iron rust in your body. Weird how they cause problems, and rust is not good. And I'm saying rust as in like oxidize. Before the technical people get on me about that. Well, copper doesn't technically rust. Okay. You understand what I'm saying. Give me a break. So onion and garlic, I do not think garlic is good for people in any way. I'll stand on that. I have given up garlic. I don't miss it one bit. People who start doing less and less garlic and then they bring it back in, they're like, it tastes all right, but like, I don't need it. It's funny. A lot of these things like bacon, we have multiple people who used to love bacon. They're like, I can't even stand the taste of bacon anymore. I don't want it. It's gross. What changed? They became less toxic. I'm not a big fan of the allium vegetables and garlic. Oh, so if we think about it, if strong scents and strong flavors mark toxins, let's talk about garlic, should we? Not a big fan. So if you're going to go and sear garlic and then sear the meat, I don't think this is heading in a good direction. So anyway, what we are finding so I'm not saying everyone has to do this. Again, repeat, I'm not saying everyone has to do this, but for those of you who, let's say, you don't feel good on grilled meat or high temperature cooked meat, and you actually notice that, like, let's say it doesn't sit as well in your stomach, or you just don't feel good, try cooking your meat. This is the simple way of putting it, in water, with water. Whether that is boiling it, it could be steaming it, it could be cooking it in the pressure cooker. Because when you cook it with water, the temperature really only gets up to 212, right? The boiling point, the transition of water to steam. So you cook it, and yes, people may be like, I don't like boiled or steamed meat. I don't like the texture. It's gross. That's not my issue to fix for you. I'm here to fix people. My job is not, and this is not directed at you, Ramon. This is at anybody who's going to question this. My job is to fix people. My job is not to cater to your palate. Okay? I am here to spread the truth. I am not here to let people eat whatever to suggest that people can eat whatever the hell they want and then wonder why they don't get better. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to handhold or baby step people. I'm here to say this is higher heats you cook your meat in is worse. If you want to cook your meat and make less of those AGEs, the advanced glycation end products, cooking it in water is one way to fully cook the meat and to not make so many ages. And if you decide, if you get good quality meat and you want to eat some of it raw, I've done it before. It's not as scary as they want you to think. So, and so is raw meat cooked? No. But I'll tell you one thing about raw meat that other people have noticed, that I remembered back when I used to eat raw meat. Raw meat doesn't fill you up very well. Like if you ate the same steak cooked versus raw, you will feel a lot less satiated, full from the raw meat, which is really weird. And do I think that cooking can help us to cooking is kind of a pre-digesting thing, and do I think that cooking meat could make it more digestible in a certain way? Yes. But you can also go too far and cook it too hard and damage it. So somebody out there is going to be like, Dr. Smith said to always boil your meat. And I'm going to be like, no, you missed the whole point. I had grilled steaks just the other night. But I also, when I make my chicken thighs, when I prep my chicken thighs for the week, what do I cook them in? The pressure cooker. And you know what I put on them? Salt. Chicken thighs and salt. It's quite good. And I'm not adding anything smelly or colored or strongly tasting to it. Right? Like if you open up that, if I open up the container of the chicken thighs, are you going to smell much from it other than right when you open it? No, you could leave it on the counter and you wouldn't even know there was chicken in the kitchen. That's what I'm talking about. If you start crushing garlic or cutting onions, do you know that somebody's doing it in the kitchen? Yeah, you might even cry from the onions. What kind of sign is it giving us that the spritzing liquid coming out of the onion makes you cry? What is God or nature trying to tell you about that? It's making you cry. It's irritating the crap out of your eyes. Does that sound like it's good for you? I'm going to say no. So, searing a bunch of onion and garlic and browning things is burning them, and eating burned things is not good for you. That's just a basic thing. Am I saying I'm never going to eat browned or grilled or high temperature cooked things again? No, but I'm also going to realize that, if you get your steaks less cooked, it's probably better for you because they spent less time in the high heat. You want well done leather steaks? I mean, go ahead. May not make you feel great, maybe slowing down your progress, but hey, you're still getting enough protein. So, hope that answered your question, Ramon. These are all things, health, regaining your health. A lot of people out there want these approaches to be black and white. And they get really agitated at me when I don't give things, the answers to them, in black and white. The answers are not black and white. We live in a real world that is gray. If you make things black and white, you often paint yourself into a corner that is very hard to escape from. And then you're stuck. If you want to eat beef or bison, brown or white rice, and black beans for the rest of your life, you can do that. You can follow Grant. Grant's got great results with that. Maybe that won't work for you. Maybe beans don't get along with you, and yet you're forcing yourself to eat them every day. That doesn't sound like a good approach to long-term health, to eat something that you don't feel good on. So don't. Seems easy, doesn't it, when you think about it that way? Let's say somebody you or somebody else does amazing on oats. Then eat oats. Somebody's like, I don't really do. I have a person on the program who doesn't do well on red meat. So we moved her to chicken thighs. She tried those. She's like, I'm all right. I'm better on the chicken thighs than I was on the red meat. And so what did I say? Well, I said, let's try chicken breast then. This woman is very, very sensitive to zinc and also tests People would be like, oh, she's copper deficient. No, she's actually copper toxic on both her hair tests and her blood tests. And so we moved her to chicken breasts, and she's doing much better on chicken breasts. Do I know why? It's probably she's very sensitive to zinc is the likely explanation. And so we reduced the zinc intake from her meats. Have I had to do this with anybody else? No, I haven't. But am I averse to fixing an individual's problem by doing something I don't normally do? No, I'll do it in a second. It's not adding more vitamin A to her diet. It's not adding more copper. It's actually probably reducing those things. So, anyway, I think we're all done for the day. Hope you all enjoyed the psoriasis research. If you want to find more from me, nutritiondetective.com. You can find me generally on social media with the term Nutrition Detective. The free course is at madnessofmodernnutrition.com. And then, yeah, Twitter's where I'm the most active. We're gonna be getting much more active on Facebook. We're gonna be getting more active on Twitter. We're gonna be doing a lot more. Big things are coming. They're gonna try to shut me down more, I'm sure. Thank you all for joining us. I will see you next week. Bye now.